Welcome to Treleaf. This is Taigu speaking, and today I'd like to share a few thoughts with you about loving kindness, metta. Now the point is, there's been a discussion on various threads about it recently, and I think many of you, and generally people, resent practicing metta. They don't want to practice loving kindness. And they don't see really why we should focus on suffering. Well, there is a particular teaching in our tradition. It's a very old one. It's a beautiful story. The story of an abbot in a beautiful, mighty monastery, and he used to have a wonderful life of sitting with his monks, and he got bored of it. He got really tired. He grew gradually out of it and decided to just go as a beggar and leave the monastery, as a few did in the past anyway. But one of his students could not stand the idea of his teacher disappearing, so he carried on following him from city to city, town to town, markets to markets, mountain to mountain, trying to find him, track him. And eventually one day he found his teacher, and his teacher was in a remote spot with lepers, living a very, very difficult life, eating very little, being very thin, and being dressed just like a beggar. So the student comes close to him and says, Teacher, could I follow your teaching and practice with you? And the teacher says, of course you may. But you've got to show me you can do it. Look there, and down there was a bowl of soup, of dirty, filthy soup. You could see bits and pieces of skin and flesh floating about. And the smell was disgusting. The stench was incredible. And the teacher says, drink! Of course the students, I don't want to. That was not for me. No, I'd rather go back. Yes, says the teacher, go back. Better place for you. This is tough. Well, this story, I think, is a very good one, because we all resent drinking that soup. Although, that's our condition. We're just right in the midst of it. You know, we often talk about bodhisattvas taking the diving, plunging into reality. This is a good picture, but it doesn't take that much to do it. Just open your eyes. Wake up. You're just already there in the sea of suffering. We are all there. We're going through ups and downs, of course. Our problems may vary from taxes to cancer, or just this incredible feeling of something's lacking, I'm not complete, I'm striving to become better, or whatever. So that reality around that suffering in and out of ourselves is what we are working with when we are practicing Buddhism. We're not working with airy-fairy realities, promises of Buddha land or nirvana. We are working with our daily struggle to sit, practice and live. We are dealing with things that hurt. And Buddhism is not going to take the pain away. No. The teaching of Buddhism asks us to embrace dukkha, to hug it. As painful as it might be, you just hug the thing. You become the thing. You dance with it. You may try to take an exit But it doesn't work. I mean, namely, you know the exits. I mean, they're very well labeled and called drugs, called television, called internet, called sex, called whatever. Plenty of exits. I mean, this is false ways to move away from something that is you, me, anybody. So reality is what we're dealing with, dancing with, swallowing, like a very unpleasant soup. But what do we do with it? Do we spit it out? No. What we do with this painful reality is we practice with it, we sit with it, and we realize that there is no reason to be scared, there is no reason to be troubled. This is perfect as it is. Now, this teaching of this being perfect as it is based on the notion of giving up territory, and that's precisely what metta is about. Giving up the territory of the self. Not because there is a territory to start with. There is no territory. There is no kingdom. There's no king. There's no self. Can't be a kingdom. Can't be a king. Nothing. No self. No self. So metta is practicing no self. Metta is letting this will to control, to possess, to become, go. Metta is just to accept that the bowl is the bowl of dirty soup, and then to be interested in everything there. The bowl, what happens around, the color of the leaves, the whole scenery. Space expands. Not just a little bowl of dirty soup. Becomes bigger. Metta makes our life much bigger. Metta makes our life, as it is actually, broader, much broader than we think. You and me, neither one nor two. It is essential to our Zen practice, this letting go of the territory, this practice of metta. Otherwise, it can lead some of us to become extremely forceful, violent, aggressive. I met in my life, short life, some of these guys. Zazen can turn people into dragons, but not loving dragons. So let ourselves be and guided by this territory disappearing. Let's make the practice of no self the core of our practice for others. If wisdom is not guided by compassion, it is very, very dry. Sorry for these very strong words, but recently in the light of some recent events, I wanted to remind everybody and myself about this. Loving kindness to all. Metta. Zazen is itself. It. But we need to consciously release, open, and serve.